Don't hurt me.
And it freaks me out.
Oh, it's stone gas, man.
Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Regionfree. I'm your old buddy Pizzal. Hope everybody out there is doing good. Let me see, am I coming through loud and clear? Yes, I am. Let's see who we got in the chat with us so far tonight. We've got my buddy Dave from Jersey. What's up, Dave? We've got Raho. Raho, how's it going, man? Hope you're doing well. We got Joe Bob, Sean McManus, Defile Divinity. Joshy's got a gun. There's Jamie in the chat. Hope you get to feeling better, Jamie. Cameron in the chat. There is Lauren also in the chat. Hope you get to feeling better too. DJ Media Dude 95. Morphe. Hello, Morphe. Hope everybody's having a good night tonight. A couple of things I want to discuss before we dive into tonight's show. We've got a couple of brand new posts, patron exclusive posts over on our Patreon. One from Riho, actually. We've not heard much from Riho lately, but he did submit a patron exclusive video. And Riho, my offer is open to you. If you would like me to send you some legitimate, super toxic American Apple Jacks, let me know. I'll send those. Or any other toxic American cereal that's not available anywhere else in the world. Just let me know. I'll send them right to you. I believe Fruit Loops is another cereal that's not, most countries won't even carry it because it's so toxic, but it's perfect for us here in the States. But yeah. So anyway, yes, a couple of new patron exclusive posts over on our Patreon. If you're not a patron, I would certainly suggest that you become a patron. Let me give a shout out here to our current patrons. Let's see here. Big Crack Rock, Dan, Rick Plamond, and Jeff Overing, Jamie, Cameron, Jess Graham, The Daily Ghost, James Welsh, Joshua Smith, Lee Gannon, Orc, Steak Sauce, Disco Demon, Kevin Smythe, Stone, and my buddy Captain Halloween. Keith, thank you all for being patrons. We appreciate the support. So let's get right into the show tonight. Joining me, I have got Jay the Stingray. What's up, Stingray?
What is up, man? Glad to be back.
How's it going? It's been a couple of weeks.
It's been a little while. It's maybe my first show of the new year, actually.
Is it?
I think so.
Jeez.
It's been a little while, but yeah, glad to be back.
Yeah, glad you're out of the joint. Heard you got incarcerated for a little while, but you're out.
Well, we'll talk about that when we're off air.
We won't talk about that publicly. But glad you're out of there. The pokey, they don't call it the pokey for nothing. So but yeah, good to see you, man.
Yeah, man, you too.
Also joining me tonight from the Flesh Wounds podcast and YouTube channel, Dan Shine. What's up, Dan?
What's up, Piz? Killing off all those poor Canadians with that sugary goodness I see.
Yep. Got to spread the love. Got to spread the diabetes. You know what I mean?
Spread the diabetes, indeed.
There you go.
That should be a shirt.
So yeah, but for real, Rajo, if you want me to send you some good super toxic American cereal, just holler at me. Let me know on Twitter. But yeah, Dan, how are you, man? What have you been up to?
I'm doing fantastic. Just enjoying the Atlanta weather. That's very nice, and watching some particularly bizarre films this week.
Those are always the best, I find.
Absolutely. I also wanted to point out, I don't think anybody's sick tonight. They're just reeling from that Rob Zombie news, but
we will. Yeah. I was actually talking to Jamie when I said, Jamie, did you hear about the Rob Zombie? She's going to be directing a Monsters movie, and she fainted. So she's having a hard time recovering from that one.
There you go.
Hopefully speedy recovery, Jamie. But this is it so far tonight. We're flying kind of light tonight. We do have some video submissions, and we may have a special guest joining us very soon. So we'll see. Retro Cac, Gibbs, get your butt in here, man. I sent you the link. But yeah, so let's go ahead and dive into let's just talk about it. Rob Zombie is making a Monsters movie. I can't imagine a Rob Zombie's The Monsters. We were talking about the cast before the movie before we got started here. And of course, you know who Lily's going to be. That's pretty obvious who Lily's going to be. Herman will most likely be, I've totally blanked out on his, what's his name? The actor's name, Dan?
William Forsythe, I would say.
William Forsythe will be Herman. Lily will, of course, be Sherry Moon Zombie. Ken Foray is going to be in there somewhere. Meg Foster is going to be in there somewhere. Meg Ryan may even be. Who knows? who's heard anything from her over the past decade?
As Grandpa. It is.
There you go.
2021.
There you go. Exactly. Or if not her, Brad Dourif will be Grandpa, which actually would be a smart move. But is it going to be Rob Zombie? Is it going to make the Monsters white trash, or can Rob Zombie make a family-friendly PG, maybe PG-13 rated Monsters movie?
I don't think they will let him make the Monsters white trash. I feel like they're going to kind of veto that. I will say Rob Zombie's a huge Monsters fan. If you have that Monsters Go Home Blu-ray, he does a commentary. So I do think it's sacred to him. But then again, so was Halloween. Mm-hmm. So, that doesn't mean he's not going to change everything about it. We did have a Monsters reboot that not a lot of people remember, Mockingbird Lane, with I think Jerry O'Connell, Eddie Izzard, I believe, was in that. So I don't know. It might be a complete car wreck, but I won't lie. I'm very curious to see what it looks like.
Yeah, there actually is some casting already done. And I know you were kind of joking, but yeah, Sherry Moon is going to play Lily.
Of course.
Of course. Three from Hell star Jeff Daniel Phillips will play Herman.
See, I knew that guy'd be in there somewhere. I knew he'd be in there somewhere.
And Cassandra Peterson's going to be in there.
Okay.
That'll be kind of cool.
I can see that.
Are we going to have Lily saying the C word? I mean,
I can't imagine. Yeah, Jeff Daniel Phillips is Herman. Okay. He's not that big a guy, but
get him some lifts, I guess.
I guess.
Fred Gwynn's hard to replace though. There's just something about him. It's going to be tough.
It's going to be very tough.
Yeah,
Very
Fred
tough.
Gwynn was awesome.
Let me ask the audience: would any who out there is going to watch Rob Zombie's The Monsters opening night? Who asked for it? DJ,
Christian Hanna horror.
Christian Hanna horror asked for it. That's it. Yeah.
Blame him.
There were two people who asked for a Rob Zombie's The Monsters movie. One Christian Hanna, the other Rob Zombie. That's it. So yeah, interesting news there. I can't quite. I know he's a big fan of the series, but I don't know. I don't know. I can't see it. I can't see it. Of course, Christian Hanna's going opening weekend. There's no doubt about that.
Already got his tickets.
Already got his tickets. Let's see here. Looks like a lot of people not watching it at all. Not opening night, but I'll watch it. Ben Grimm says he'd watch it.
I'm just curious as to what it could be, so I'll definitely watch it.
Yeah. Jerry O'Connell was great as Herman. He played Herman. I didn't even know that this reboot existed.
They aired it as just the pilot as a movie on Halloween 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. It didn't get picked up for series, but they aired the pilot. I mean, I didn't hate it. It's modern. It takes away some of the charm. Yeah, I didn't expect you would be there opening night, Lauren. Is there any chance that this is going to end up being an animated movie? Because he did do Haunted World of El Super Beasto, and I could actually see that coming off better as an animated movie.
I didn't think about that. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I don't know how many details are out there yet, but I don't think Sherry Moon's. She's good at one particular thing. I don't think she's a strong enough actress to pull off Lily Munster. I just don't. I would hope he would find something else for her to do in there. She's a little too old to play Marilyn at this point, but yeah, I think this has got to be the one where he just says, "I'm not going to cast my wife."
I can't wait to hear Herman Munster tell Lily that he's going to crawl over there and fornicate with her skull. I can't wait for that. I can't wait for it. I just can't wait. Speaking of Rob Zombie, I think we've got the world's biggest Rob Zombie fan who just joined us. Let me see if
Really?
Yeah, he's a huge Rob Zombie fan. It's Gibbs. Gibbs, are you there?
Hello.
How's it going, man?
It's going well. Just got back from practice. I heard what was her name? Meg Ryan's name, and I thought I had to get on. Got me fired up.
The world's biggest Meg Ryan fan is what I meant to say.
Yes. Hey, I like to watch her eat. You know what I'm saying? She gets wild in the restaurant.
But Gibbs, how's it going, man? We've not seen you in a while.
Yeah. No, this is my Regionfree debut. It's good to be here. Am I coming through a little loud? This is a new headset. So,
no, perfect, man.
Sounds good, man.
Cool. But no, just been having chilling. I got to stream with Jay the other night, so just trying to get back in the groove a little bit.
Yeah, I watched some of that. That was a fun stream.
Yeah.
We actually stayed on topic more than I expected. We actually talked video games, believe it or not.
When I watched it back, we did better. It seemed like we didn't talk about them at all when we were doing it, but yeah, we stuck to the topic.
Very cool.
Known for going off the rails.
Yeah, I was a little nervous.
So Gibbs, your thoughts on Rob Zombie's The Monsters?
Well, I was always an Addams Family guy, so much more. Hey, why not? It's not like the Monsters franchise is getting any love anyway, so what's the harm in it, I guess. And I hear he's a big fan, so maybe he can do something with it.
Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if it happens.
Mm-hmm.
If it happens. I can't just imagine the soundtrack. The Monsters, yeah.
I can't imagine what it's going to be. I mean, tonally, he doesn't mesh well with that, right? I mean,
what about Dag Fark
I
as
was
a
thinking,
monster.
I was thinking about that too.
Oh my God.
That dude is massive now, by the way.
He is. He's like 18 feet tall, and he's a rapper. He raps.
Yeah, yeah.
So
We'll get him
anybody's
on the soundtrack.
if anybody's curious about Deg Hark's rap career, look him up on YouTube. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I went down that rabbit hole not too long ago.
Yeah. Anywho, let's talk about another remake or reboot that just recently got announced. Silent Night, Deadly Night. It is happening. So what's the consensus on a Silent Night, Deadly Night remake or reboot? I have to say, when I hear remakes and reboots happening, my response is just like, oh, I'm just so exhausted by them. I just have there's no excitement or anything there. When I heard they were doing Silent Night, Deadly Night, I kind of thought, maybe that could work. I don't know. I didn't feel the same way about it as a new Jeepers Creepers reboot or a new whatever reboot. I don't know. I don't know. What do you guys think? The Silent Night, Deadly Night remake or reboot, could it work?
It could. I mean, we kind of got it with Silent Night, but of course that film did its own thing.
Yeah.
I think a lot will just depend on the director on that one. Hopefully it doesn't turn into Black Christmas 2019 or something crazy like that. But I'm down for it. I feel like if they get the right director, I wouldn't mind seeing Silent Night, Deadly Night 2 and some fresh takes on all the sequels as well, if it goes off okay.
Yeah. I think that's going to be, once they announce who the writer and who the director is, we'll get a sense of how this thing's going to progress. I think. What do you think, Jay? Are you open to a Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, reboot, what have you?
Honestly, I'm kind of surprised they haven't done. I mean, I guess like Dan said, the Silent Night movie, but kind of surprised I haven't done it already. But I mean, whatever. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, man.
Yeah. Gibbs, your thoughts on a Silent Night, Deadly Night remake?
Well, I mean, you guys are bigger horror guys than me, and if you're okay with it, like you say, they're going to remake everything eventually anyway. So what's one more? I'm sure Pad is in development right now. I mean, the old Saturday Night Live movie, they're going to redo them all. So
Yeah.
Wow. Well, you can only improve upon its Pat, so it's a safe one.
That's true.
The worst movie I've ever seen. Yeah.
I saw it in a theater and I was young, but I distinctly remember my dad just leaning over to me and it's like, do you really want to stay for all this crap? And I think it was one of the few movies that we actually left because it was just so bad. Let's go home and make dinner early.
None of those were any good. Remember Superstar?
Yeah. The thing is you're taking a 5-minute skit and trying to turn it into a 90-minute movie. That's extremely difficult. The fact that they made Wayne's World as good as it, that was like an aberration, So I guess they thought, well, hey, if we could do that with Wayne's World, what about its Pat? And what about the what's not at the Roxbury? They'll just nod their heads for 90 minutes to Baby Don't Hurt Me, and everybody will love it. You know what I mean?
We'll stick Richard Grieco in there.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they didn't do one of the making copies guy, Rob Schneider.
I'm sure it was in development. I'm sure at some point. I'm sure it was.
Imagine that for 90 minutes. Good God.
He was riding a high on Deuce Split Bigelow and wanted too much money. That's why it didn't happen.
That's probably it. Yeah. That's probably it. So what's the audience say? What do you guys say out there? Silent Night, Deadly Night remake, reboot? You in? You out? You want to remain cautiously optimistic? Let us know in the comments. Steak Sauce says Night at the Roxbury is actually a solid film.
You liked Wrong Turn 2021 Steak Sauce.
Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Stingray, have you seen Wrong Turn 2021 yet?
I've not.
Okay.
Don't.
You
I've
might
been
want
told to avoid
you might
it.
want to avoid that one. Might want to avoid that one. Well, we do have a video submission tonight from our buddy Lauren. Lauren recently had a medical procedure. I'm sure a lot of you out there are aware of it. So send those positive vibes and thoughts and juju. If you're a voodoo person, send it up to Lauren. And,
Absolutely, man. Get well soon.
Yeah, he has sent in a video, a little tribute to a fallen horror icon. So here we go.
Polio robbed Norman J. Warren of the use of one of his arms, but he carried his films just as confidently as anyone with both. In 1976, while Jessica Lange tried and failed to slink into Fay Wray's evening gown in an overblown remake of King Kong, Warren was working in the UK on a fraction of the budget, creating Satan's Slave, a menacing devilsploitation grindhouse masterpiece. Then Prey the following year, and The Terror in 1978. He's perhaps best known for the VHS-era teenage dare sci-fi space rape flick Inseminoid. But his Bloody New Year, you know that video box, the one with the skull with the eyeballs about to toot on a New Year's Eve blowout noisemaker? I know you know that one. Is undoubtedly his most outlandish film. Like so many characters in his films before him, Norman J. Warren has left us. He worked in the genre from the last days of the British neo-Gothics through the cocaine-fueled absurdity of the 80s surge. And although he made a couple of short films in the 2000s, his legacy had already been well cemented. Every kid who rented Inseminoid made elaborate excuses why his family just couldn't watch this one together understands. Movies used to be unsafe, and Warren was one of the filmmakers who had us looking over our shoulders. Not just for the monsters from his movies, but from the glare of our parents' better judgment. Thank you for leading us into some very dark places, Mr. Warren. There will never be another.
I highly recommend Inseminoid. If you've not seen Inseminoid,
Yes.
really, really fun movie. Really, really fun movie. I don't remember that much about Bloody New Year though, but Inseminoid for sure.
He has quite a few films that Vinegar Syndrome have remastered and put out on Blu-ray, and yeah, definitely dive into that. Prey is insane. Bloody New Year is a very odd flick. I really love Satan's Slave. Yeah, and he was a very nice man. I never met him, but I know people in the UK who had the pleasure of meeting him at different things throughout the years, and just a really sweet-natured, nice guy. And anybody that hasn't seen some of his films should definitely rediscover them on Blu-ray. Vinegar Syndrome's put out a good chunk of his catalog at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see. What do we got here? Well, Dan, why don't you go ahead and take the floor, man? You've got a topic for us tonight.
Absolutely. All right. So I'm going to talk tonight about the Shaw Brothers, and I've got a little bit of a review for you guys, but not necessarily what you think of as the Shaw Brothers, but little background for those of you that only know that name through Quentin Tarantino and Kill Bill, of course, which I think I know quite a few people, depending on your age, that's how you became aware of the Shaw Brothers. But let me take you back in time to 1925 Shanghai, where we meet the Shaw family, early pioneers of Chinese cinema who established the Tianyi Film Company, which produced the earliest sound pictures in the country in the early 1930s. The Shaws endured and expanded their empire through much political and cultural change from World War II and the Japanese occupation to the changeover from Cantonese to Mandarin in the wake of the communist takeover of the mainland, which all leads to the rise of the legendary Shaw Brothers we all know and love, and their world-famous Movie Town studio at Clearwater Bay in Hong Kong. Founder Sir Run Run Shaw had an extremely high bar for production values and produced movies that reflected Chinese culture and myth that often surpassed their big-budget American studio counterparts. Run Run had an iron grip on the industry, owning a considerable number of theaters and signing talent to exclusive and restrictive deals, and even having many actors live on site in dorms at the studio. Shaw vanquished their rival, the Cathay organization, by the end of the 1960s and were on fire with their smash hit, The One-Armed Swordsman, in 1967, which paved the way for such genre-defining classics like The Five Fingers of Death, 36th Chamber of Shaolin, Five Deadly Venoms, and Eight Diagram Pole Fighter, which helped make Kung Fu a household name worldwide. However, all good things come to an end, and by the close of the 1970s, Kung Fu period pieces had peaked, and new wave directors started making movies set in present-day Hong Kong. At this time, the Shaws faced serious competition from the new studio Golden Harvest, which was founded by breakaway Shaw employee Raymond Chow, among others. Ultimately, increased competition mixed with TV keeping many moviegoers at home and failing to make critical signings of Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan, and most of all, not capitalizing on the changing trends in cinema, much like Hammer Studios, their partner in the 1974 co-production Legend of the Seven Golden Vampires, all led to the Shaws' demise. However, before the fall in 1986, the Shaws made a string of fantastically bizarre horror films, one of which I will talk to you about now. The Boxer's Omen is a 1983 film from director Chi Hung Kwei and starring Philip Ko as Chen, a man who seeks vengeance against a vicious and corrupt Thai boxer who crippled his brother. This quest leads him down a dark path in a war between a Buddhist monk and an evil Thai sorcerer, clashing for the secret of immortality. So this film is a must-see. The best way I can describe it is taking Kickboxer, first of all, which it's so close to the plot of Kickboxer, it even has Bolo Young as Mr. Bao Bao, the evil Thai boxer. And you just put that in a blender with Alejandro Jodorowsky, you throw in some gooey 80s melting effects, and you kind of have Boxer's Omen. This film is bonkers. Everything from reincarnated monk twins to zombie crocodile heads, vomiting eels, floating demon heads, and Party City style bat sacrifice. This film is just a nutty, bizarre, psychedelic assault on the senses, and I love it. This is kind of a spiritual sequel to the same director's Bewitched, which came a couple years earlier in 1981, but doesn't really follow it. It just kind of has that same monks versus black magic theme to it. If you haven't seen this, there was a bunch of horror films, particularly in the early 80s, that kind of closed out the Shaws. Films like Corpse Mania and the Hex series. Seeding of a Ghost is another equally wild one. This film, in a lot of ways, you can kind of compare the style to Nobuhiko Obayashi's House from 1977, which is one I highly recommend. Criterion put out a Blu-ray of that. Not a lot necessarily makes sense, but from beginning to end, just the imagery, the softcore shenanigans, it just throws everything at the screen you can possibly imagine. And man, these Shaw Brothers horror films, it doesn't get much more entertaining than that. Even when an effect feels cheap, it is just so creative. You know, we see this monk fighting reanimated crocodile heads, and I'm just laughing my ass off. I think this is a time, again, Shaw Brothers made some amazing films. They made, I think, over 1,000 films, and defined the Kung Fu genre. We hear a lot about Bruce Lee, and rightfully so, but the Shaw Brothers, man, just Come Drink With Me, 36 Chamber of Shaolin, some of the best of the martial arts genre. House of Traps is one I'm particularly fond of. And they also brought the gore sometimes in those movies as well. House of Traps is kind of Saw as a chop socky flick. So if you're just starting, I think Boxer's Omen is a good entry point. It's if you like the action that you see in some of the more traditional Shaw Brothers films, you got it there. And there just happens to be eel vomiting and a lot of really twisted stuff thrown in there. So it has something for everybody. And if you have not seen it, I highly recommend you check it out. If you are region free, there is a Blu-ray of it, but I believe you can also still get, I'm not sure how out of print it is, but you can also get the DVD from Image Entertainment. Highly recommend it. But not only just this, check out that entire string of horror films. They made a lot more than you think. Have any of you had the pleasure of seeing Boxer's Omen yet?
I have not. To be honest, I'm not very familiar with the Shaw Brothers' work, although I've heard it referenced in a lot of Wu-Tang songs.
Oh yes.
So
yes, that's a rabbit hole you can be on for a long time. They're amazing. They really are.
I'm amazed I haven't seen this movie. I'm actually shopping for it right now. It's
yes.
$112 for that DVD right now.
Okay,
Oh, wow.
the Blu-ray should still be, again, if you're region free, which you should. Well, we are region free, so that should be, you should be able to get it. I'll check around for you, Jay.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Yeah. Are there any Shaw Brothers like good movies that you'd recommend as sort of in Shaw Brothers 101, an intro to the Shaw Brothers?
Well, 36 Chamber of Shaolin is a masterpiece. 5-Element Ninjas. There are some of their films. Again, I'm not sure still, but they should be on Blu-ray. I know 36 is. I think 5-Element Ninjas is. And they're also, they put most of them out on DVD as well. But I also am very fond of 8 Diagram Pole Fighter. That's a very good violent martial arts film. But you almost can't go wrong. Like I said, it's hard to see them all, but I've seen a good chunk. I'm sure I've probably seen a couple hundred at least out of that 1,000. And you owe it to yourself if you're a fan of action. Again, if you like bizarre horror, check out the post 70s stuff. They're just absolutely amazing, guys. And I envy you getting to watch some of these for the first time. I'll look around anybody that wants the hookup, and I'll tell you where you can find it as cheap as possible.
Cool. Oh, very cool.
Yeah, I know Seating the Ghost is another one I've got to watch.
Oh,
Yeah, I think Lauren had mentioned that one in the chat.
I think he's probably mentioned that one to me before.
yes, Lauren would definitely. He probably knows even more than I do about the Shaws, and yeah.
I'm more familiar with their martial arts, strictly martial arts films. Not all the weird stuff you were talking about there, but it sounds right up my alley, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they still kind of blend the martial arts stuff into a lot of these.
Mm-hmm.
Seating of a Ghost, Boxer's Omen is a great double feature. Those were two of, I think, the first horror films that I saw from them. Because I don't know, I'd say around early 2000s, I knew, of course, about the big titles in the martial arts genre. But man, like once I was like, oh, they made horror films. We've got zombie crocodiles and all this crazy stuff being thrown at the screen, floating heads. There's some effects in Boxer's Omen that are quite disturbing too. So it's a perfect midnight movie.
Awesome.
Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. And always remember, guys, woo. Never forget the woo, okay? Well, Gibbs, we've not had a retro gaming corner from you in a very long time. Well, let's talk about some because the NES, the classic NES system, had some classic Kung Fu related titles. Ninja Gaiden, of course, comes to mind. Have you beaten Ninja Gaiden?
I think I got to the final boss when I was a kid, but I never beat the final boss. But that game is so hard, I couldn't get close. Have you beat it?
Just getting to that point. No, just getting to that point is an accomplishment. That game's insanely. I don't know what they were thinking, the programmers who made the game. Like, so little kids are going to play this game. Let's make them tear their hair out.
Yeah. Well, later on they started making games real hard because of the rental market. They didn't want kids to rent them in a weekend and beat them. But that doesn't explain. That's the 16-bit era. But that doesn't explain Ninja Gaiden. They just had it out for us with that one.
Yeah. That game was. It was so revolutionary because it had like cutscenes and it had great graphics even for the NES. But God, it was so insanely, ridiculously hard
because of the respawning enemies. So they would it was relentless.
And if you got hit, you always bounced back like 300 feet, and of course that was always off of the ledge. So.
Yep. Oh yeah. They knew how to hurt you. But it was the first cinematic game, and it kind of laid the groundwork for what we got now. And it was awesome to look at that in a magazine, and every kid wanted it when they saw those cutscenes. So.
Robert Long claims that he beat all 3 Ninja Gaiden. Unless there's proof, I'm not. No, unless you've got proof, then I'll okay.
Send the Polaroids,
Send the Polaroids. It got to be Polaroids too, because you can't mess with them. You can't alter.
That's how they used to prove things back then. So that's how we got to do this.
It seemed to me like there were some other good karate and kung fu related titles on the NES, wasn't there?
Well, Kung Fu, that was the first. That's the first NES game I ever played, and that was a lot of fun. You remember that one?
Sweeping the leg.
Yes. Yeah, it was called Kung Fu Master in the arcade, and they kind of changed it up a little bit. That was a real good one. Then there was
the Karate Kid.
Yeah, that was a little different, but it was fun. I keep thinking of all the beat 'em ups, like the Double Dragons and all that. But but yeah, there was some good stuff.
Bad Dudes.
Bad Dudes. Yep.
Yeah, I remember Double Dragon well. I remember Bad Dudes well. I didn't play much Karate Kid though. I remember I rented it a couple of times, but that one was one of those that it didn't. So those LJN titles. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It wasn't.
Well, don't you love LJN titles?
Well, I love Friday the 13th. That's it. That's it.
I thought Jaws, wasn't it? I thought you liked Jaws.
Jaws too.
Yeah,
I love Jaws, and I love Friday.
Yeah, I'm busting you right now. Huh?
But some of those other LJN titles are pretty bad. I mean, the X-Men game, good God, that was. Well,
I can go further back. One of the first games I got for the Nintendo was Major League Baseball by LJN. Horrible, dude. That thing that sucked. So LJN
fits with Jaws and Friday the 13th. Like I can't ever see Jaws. I'm like shooting like stingrays or something the whole time, and where's Jason? How many? I've got to burn it in this fireplace to see Jason or whatever the thing is.
Yeah. It's funny because they made that game so complicated, but they lie to you in that game because they tell you that you've got to light all the fireplaces to get something that doesn't work. And when you know what you're doing, you can beat that game in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But like playing it at the time when you were a kid, you had no manual or nothing. You're just screwed.
But I mean, everybody rented that game just because Friday was so huge at the time.
Oh yeah.
It's like, what is this?
Yeah, and I can remember playing Jaws and shooting 8 million harpoons at him, and like it takes off one little health thing. Like, oh my God! But that's another one. Once you know what you're doing, you can beat it in 3 minutes. It's so easy.
Yeah.
So, good stuff. Good stuff. We have got a video submission. Or actually, no. Let's go to Stingray. Stingray, what have you got for us this week, bud?
Well, I know I've told the story before on here about my brother and I went to go see. Oh shoot! I just had to. I was thinking about it the other day. The Brotherhood of the Wolf, and that's a French movie.
Mhm.
And we watched about 5 minutes of it, and then he went and he got his money back, and we left. And this got me thinking about a lot of films made in America of foreign films strictly for the sake of it being in English, and it really got me thinking. We can all name off a laundry list of the horror films that they did in the 2000s and still today with Silent Night, Deadly Night, and more coming. But when I first thought of this, I thought of Old Boy, which I haven't seen the remake, and I like Josh Brolin. I don't dislike Spike Lee, but
You can skip it.
I'm not watching that movie.
Yeah.
Have you seen Old Boy?
Yeah, it sucks. You don't skip it. Skip it.
I just feel like, I mean, why are you trying to improve on perfection?
Yeah.
Like, what's the purpose? But
yeah.
Anyway, I've got some of the bad ones listed out here. Some of the horror films, Martyrs, which is one of the more recent ones, which I haven't seen that either. I'm not watching that.
No.
Dark Water.
Don't.
Pulse. That's a terrible remake.
That's a horrible remake. Yeah.
And I love that original Japanese Cairo.
Me too.
The Eye. Jessica Alba, I think, was in that.
Yeah.
Shutter. Mirrors. The Uninvited. Tale of Two Sisters is amazing if you guys haven't seen that, but
oh yes,
The Uninvited is not good. Quarantine, which was Wreck, which is another film I love quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And this one I don't think it's too terrible. I just think it's not necessary. Let Me In.
Yeah.
Because Let the Right One In is one of my all-time favorite films of all time. So
oh yeah, great movie.
It's not a bad movie, but it just is not. I mean, again, why are you trying to improve on perfection?
It's pretty close to the same film. Like you have some like funny games where it's just like, okay, let's just do the same movie in English.
Well, some of the things that really had me intrigued, they left out. Like the scarring. Just makes you ask a lot of questions. And let's see. Actually, did a show last night with Cole. We did Breathless, and they did a remake of that in 1983 with Richard Gere, which I'm actually going to try to track down and watch sometime soon. But I just thought, what are you doing? 23 years later, you're going to make a remake of this, auteur French film. It's so wild.
Inside they even did, and man, there's nothing you can improve on.
Inside, yeah, I forgot about that one. I love
it's a good thing.
It's some of the ones I think that are acceptable is when it's the same director that does the American remake. Like The Grudge is Takeshi Shimizu. He did Ju-On and then did Grudge in America or in English. And Night Watch, they did that. Old Borndal was the director of that one. And The Shaft. I know this is one Piz likes a lot. Dick Moss.
Dick Moss, yes.
And he remade The Lift. So, I think it's kind of acceptable, if you're remaking your own film. But,
the one I've not seen the Vanishing remake that the same director did. I've heard that one's really bad.
Oh, the same director did that? Okay.
Yeah.
I love The Vanishing though.
I do too. Great movie.
Yeah, I've been told not to watch that remake.
Yeah.
And it's got a pretty good cast. I think Jeff Bridges is in there.
Jeff Bridges, yeah.
Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, Kiefer.
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, I've heard it's not good. But that Old Boy remake is so egregious because you've got a good cast, you've got a good director. If they just done like a shot for shot remake, it's I don't know. It's just so
like Psycho. That's like the biggest, offender of the shot for shot, like what are you doing, man? It's Hitchcock. What the fuck?
Yeah. Even if they tried to do a shot for shot remake of Old Boy, it would have been better than what we got. That awesome, where he's got the hammer and he's just whacking through all these, this 100 guys. Like they winnow that down to like a 2 second, not 2 seconds, but like it seems like it goes on for no time at all, and it's very brief, and It's like they take all the power out of that sequence so that they can spend more time with, I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. The only reason anybody talks about that movie now is because of what's her name, Olsen, who's Wanda. You get to see a flash of her breast for about 2 seconds in it. So, and when you think about it, it's Thanos having sex with Wanda, but their father daughter. So I mean, and that's just so crazy. It's crazy.
They should put that on the back of the box, Piz. Just a flash of Wanda's breast. And that movie was a crime against humanity because Old Boy is just such a fantastic movie. I mean, I would rather them just do something completely different at that point. I mean, take a basic theme and just do your own thing, because why? Why?
There's a certain segment of the population that refuses to read subtitles.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't get it, but I mean, I can understand maybe in an action film that, you maybe miss out on a little bit of the action reading, but I mean, for the most part, I mean, I would rather that than some terrible dub job,
Yeah.
Anyway, you're really, closing yourself out of a lot of great movies if you refuse to read subtitles.
Yeah. Old Boy, just talking about Old Boy makes me want to go back and rewatch it. It's just so good. So good.
I watched go ahead.
I was going to say, you mentioned Let Me In, which is a perfectly fine movie, but nowhere on the same level as Let the Right One In. And you mentioned some really bad Pulse. I've seen Pulse because I loved Cairo. So I don't know what I was thinking. I was like, I love Cairo. And I actually thought the trailers for Pulse looked pretty good. And then you watch it and you're like, oh my God,
it's got a decent cast too. A lot of these movies have competent actors in them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're not always horrible. I mean, like if you look at Let Me In, sure, if you never saw the other one, you would watch that and think that was a great film, most likely. But even some of the more celebrated remakes, like The Ring, I think Ringu is far better. I mean, I think that whole series is far better. And I mean, Psycho, that was just, I kind of file that under pointless, I guess. Get to see Anne Heche show a little more in the shower, and that's about it. It's just, Psycho's timeless. You can't touch that. You just can't. And I don't think modern audiences that God forbid don't care about the original. I mean, that premise isn't as shocking anymore in what was that, 1998, I believe. So yeah, I just say do something completely different. Even if it's a classic, I can accept that. Like if you want to take Psycho, I mean, you better hope you have something pretty compelling, but I would rather Vince Vaughn, do something completely different with it. Throw a twist in there that nobody expects.
Vince Vaughn gets stabbed to death in the shower in the first 15 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. there you go.
He's underrated. Brawl in Cell Block 99. I will throw that out there. If you don't let Freaky dissuade you from checking that out.
Yeah, I liked him a lot in True Detective season 2. I know that's not a very common thing someone says, but
I need to watch True Detective season 2. That's the only one I've not watched. I think I watched the first episode, and then I remember liking the first episode, but I didn't continue on. But I like the first season. I like the third season a lot.
Colin Farrell's in there. He does a great job, man. It's you can feel the pain in his character.
The scene where he shows up at the bully's house at night.
Man. I love it. Love it. Beats the absolute crap out of that guy.
Like, don't you look away. Your old man's taking this for you, I think was his line. Farrell's underrated.
Yeah. Then he had another great line of reminding him, like, if I have to come back, here's what's going to happen. And it wasn't pretty, put it that way. It's not pretty. So, but you were going to say something before I cut you off, Stingray?
I think I was just going to say I saw Sympathy for Mr. Vengeance a few weeks ago, and it made me want to go back and watch all three of them again.
Yeah, Lady Vengeance is very good as well. That whole trilogy, if anybody's listening that hasn't checked out the Vengeance trilogy, there's a Steelbook Blu-ray set out there that's really awesome. Those movies are just fantastic. Old Boy's the best, but those other two are great as well.
Yeah, right on. Well, we have got a video submission we're actually going to catch up on some upcoming Blu-ray news here with Garrett, and then when we come back, we're going to have a Blu-ray review from someone who's in the green room right now, but we're going to keep that a mystery until we come back. So here's Garrett to tell us all about the new upcoming Blu-ray releases.
Rad report. Everybody, Garrett back here, and I'm interrupting your regularly scheduled program to bring you the newest edition of the Rad Report, where I go through the physical media releases and news in the upcoming weeks. All right, new releases this week. We have The Forest making its way to Blu-ray from Code Red. We also have from Kino Lorber Positive ID and also Runaway Train. Psycho Goreman hits Blu-ray next week. Also to the Castle Freak remake, which I haven't seen much of anything about, so let me know what you guys think of that one. Big Blu-ray release week from Mill Creek. They're going to be releasing The Babe, Stop When My Mom Will Shoot, Gorillas in the Mist, Gold Diggers, and the My Girl Collection. Also from Mill Creek, they're going to be releasing a limited edition steelbook of Rad on Blu-ray, so if you happen to miss the Vinegar Syndrome release of Rad, now's your chance to get it, and it actually has different special features than the Vinegar Syndrome release. Another movie released this week is Rent-A-Pal from Scream Factory. I don't know anything about that one either, but it might be worth a check. All right, we have a big news week this week with announcements and some pre-orders that went up. The first one is going to be Super 8 and Last Action Hero are announced for a 4K Steelbook limited edition. Definitely might be worth an upgrade on those. Also, too, I've mentioned this before, but Massacre Video is releasing Toxic Zombies for the first time on Blu-ray, and that's going to be only limited to 1,000 copies, and that just went up for pre-order this week. MVD is doing a lot of re-releases on stuff that you may have missed out on. We have Action USA that was released by Vinegar Syndrome a while back that is already gone out of print. They're also releasing Mortuary and House of Sorority Row, which were other releases on Blu-ray from Scorpion that have been long out of print. Scream Factory also announced they're going to be releasing 1976 King Kong on Blu-ray. That's definitely going to be a pickup for me on that upgrade. Also releasing on Blu-ray is going to be The Hand, Eyes of a Stranger, He Knows You're Alone, and also Explorers. They just recently announced a limited edition steelbook on Blu-ray of Beyond the Battle of the Stars. Now, I already own that on Blu-ray from Scream Factory, so I don't know what this re-release is, if it's got anything different on it besides just the steelbook packaging. But I do know that it has a limited edition NECA figure that will be coming with that edition as well. Vinegar Syndrome announced their March releases, which is going to be Rush Week, which is definitely going to be one that I want to upgrade, Death Promise, and Last Gasp. Severin has a couple titles they announced that are up for pre-order now that are going to be released really soon, and that is going to be Day of the Beast, which I saw a trailer for. It looks really promising. If anybody out there has seen it, let me know what you think. Also, Nosferatu in Venice, which again, I know nothing about this one. If you guys have any opinion on it, please let me know. So that's all the news that I have this week and all the new releases that are coming out in the next couple weeks. Hope you guys are able to check it out. I'm Garrett from Bored to Be Rad, and now get back to the rest of Region Free.
All right, thank you, Garrett. Yeah, very nicely done. Nosferatu in Venice is the unofficial, or maybe I should say semi-official sequel to Werner Herzog's Nosferatu with Klaus Kinski, only Klaus Kinski refused to wear the Nosferatu makeup. And Klaus Kinski directed this movie. Klaus Kinski assaulted one of the actresses while making this movie.
Which he's done on other films. Which
it's not that he's a repeat offender. But since he was directing, he was like, just let it roll. You know what I mean? So yeah, that sounds. I've got to watch this movie. Basically, I've got to watch it. I've heard it's really bad, but still, I've got to watch it.
A good recommendation from that list. Well, maybe not for everybody. It's a very unusual film, but Rent-A-Pal. Anybody that's seen that, I'd be curious to get their opinion because wow, what a powerful movie.
Is that the one with Will
Wheaton?
Wheaton?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That one's been on my list. I've heard really good things.
Yeah. Real about some of the best acting I've seen from Brian Fulken last year. So I'm very eager to pick that up. But yeah, maybe if you're on a limited budget, get that before you get Nosferatu and Venice.
You guys can keep that Toxic Zombies.
Oh,
I've got a DVD. I'm just fine.
I am excited for Rush Week on Blu-ray. I love that movie. So yeah, I'm excited for that on Blu-ray. I've already got it pre-order, as a matter of fact.
I've got an unpopular opinion, man. I actually kind of love the Castle Freak remake.
I liked it too. Different.
I've watched it twice.
Yeah, some great gore in that.
It's very, very disturbing.
Yeah,
I may have to look into it. I forgot it existed, actually.
It's on Shudder.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, lots of upcoming Blu-ray releases for you guys to keep track of. From Stream Factory, from Vinegar Syndrome, all over the place. So lots of titles to keep your eyes open for. I actually recently got this. There's a Milky Way wrapper on it. I actually just ate a little Milky Way. But Breakdown Blu-ray, the imprint release from Vivision, got this in the mail today, and I just heard that it's out of print. Like they sold out. So it sold out really quick.
How is it nobody talks about that? That is like a forgotten Kurt Russell film that was in theaters, and it's great, but nobody remembers it.
Great movie. Nobody talks about it. Nobody seems to remember it. It's never been on Blu-ray until now. Yeah. And apparently there was a big call for it because it's already sold out. So
was that a 4K?
No, not 4K. Not 4K.
That's a really underrated movie.
Well, actually, it's a high definition presentation from a 4K scan, not a dedicated 4K, but it's from a 4K scan. And there's actually quite a few extras on the back here too. So,
some of the action films from around that time don't get enough love.
I agree.
Like Black Dog with Patrick Swayze. You guys ever see that one?
Oh, kind of like a ghost action trucker movie. They threw everything at that one. Meatloaf was in that.
Meatloaf, yeah, he was the bad guy. Yeah. That's always fun.
Well, we have got Mr. Stone Gasman here. How's it going, Stone?
Live from New York, it's Stone Gasman, live from Midtown Manhattan. Beautiful brazzle dazzle day in Manhattan, 52 degrees. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you, man.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, all right. Well, I'm here to do a couple of Blu-ray reviews. And, it's funny. I'm glad you brought up Breakdown because originally that's what I wanted to do today, but my copy hasn't come in the mail. I just found out today it was sold out, so I grabbed a second copy on eBay. So I'm telling you all right now, you want a copy of Breakdown, go to eBay, find it anywhere, get one of those copies before it sells out. I mean, I think it's going to be awesome. But as for today, I was thinking, okay, 11 is my lucky number. This is Regionfree number 11. This is the 11th day of March. My birthday is in 3 weeks. I want to talk about a movie that is near and dear to my heart. And, granted, St. Patrick's Day is next week, so you might think I chose this because of the green element. Not very true. Well, the truth of the matter is, if you really want to know, my history of movies, goes way back to when I was 5. When my father recorded Wizard of Oz and Star Wars, sans the New Hope subtitle, by the way, on one VHS. And we wore out that VHS for over 20 years. By the time when I was 10, I was watching Chaplin, Hitchcock, Scorsese. Yeah, I was watching those films at such a young age. And, as soon as I got a library card, I would rent movies all the time. But there was one movie, and I promise
to you all right now, there was only one movie from my childhood that I can refer to as my childhood movie. I saw it literally every week. And when I mean literally every week, I watched it religiously every single week growing up till about, when I first got when my father first recorded it on VHS back before they had copy guards. Ladies and gentlemen, confession, as unorthodox as this review is going to be, my review tonight is on the Blu-ray of the 1977 Disney classic, Pete's Dragon. Now, and another reason why I wanted to do this movie is because, of course, the star, Helen Reddy, passed away only about 6 months ago. And I knew I wanted to do something on this. So I thought, you know what, now's the time. Now's the time I need to wax on this thing. And look, it's my childhood movie, so hear me out for a moment. So Walt Disney himself, he passed away in the mid-1960s. And the last movie he approved was The Love Bug. The Love Bug did all the auto racing and everything. The #1 box office hit of 1969. Unfortunately, after that, Disney started. I mean, the theme parks were like literally the only things that were making money for Disney throughout the 1970s. And they tried with certain things, but unfortunately, a lot of their films would succumb to what I like to call is the typical silly Disney slapstick, where somebody always, just goofy humor. I mean, Kurt Russell, that we were talking about before, he made Disney movies back in the day. The computer that wore tennis shoes, now you see him, now you don't. That's where he got to start. In fact, according to legend, the last 2 words that Disney wrote on a piece of paper was Kurt Russell. Not a joke. Not a joke. According to legend, that's the very last 2 words he wrote on a piece of paper. But anyway, Pete's Dragon came out in 1977, which of course was the year of Star Wars and William Friedkin's Sorcerer and many other great films. And
Stone, we lost your audio. Can anybody else hear him?
No, he went mute for me too.
I think he's back now. I think so.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, there you are. There you are.
Okay, sorry about that.
No problem.
Where did I leave off? Just real quick.
The last thing that Walt Disney wrote was Kurt Russell.
Oh yeah, the last thing that he wrote was Kurt Russell. Well, okay, Pete's Dragon came out in 1977, the same year as Star Wars, William Friedkin's Sorcerer, many great films. Had a $10 million budget, made about $40 million, so it did rather well. But it's never been considered like a Walt Disney treasure, as they like to say. I mean, what upset me at a very young age is how Disney like to say, "Oh, we're bringing this animated classic out for the vault for only like a few months and everything." Like, no, bunch of crap, to be honest. And despite the fact I have so much disdain for Disney now as a studio and as a company for myriad reasons, and no, it has nothing to do with Gina Carano and the midichlorian show. Nothing to do with that. But the thing is that Pete's Dragon was literally my childhood movie. The movie, what is it about? Well, the movie starts out, and I think this is.
We lost your audio again, Stone. And now we lost Stone.
I'm sure he'll reconnect. I remember Pete's Dragon from my childhood a little bit. All I remember hearing now is like it was Puff the Magic Dragon was code for something else.
Were those the same thing, Puff and Pete? Because I remember Puff.
No earbuds. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to talk with earbuds anymore. All right. So Pete's Dragon, it came out in It opens up, the camera pans along this very large painting. And, over the years, I told myself, wow, somebody put some good man hours into painting this thing. It literally starts at a lighthouse where the movie ends, all the way to where the movie begins, which is in a forest. Pete is a orphan. He's 9 years old, and he's escaping from a family called the Gogans that bought him for $50 and basically treats him like a slave, doing all the work.
We've lost him again. Jeez. Okay. Well, let's see if he jumps back on. Maybe he's having some issues with his device or his
Robert
connection.
Long mentions the reboot. I did see that a few years ago. It's not terrible.
Yeah, it is. It is kind of one of those cult films. I like that era of Disney, though. Well, even going back a little earlier, like Apple Dumpling Gang, and I'm not really that old, but I did enjoy these films. Davy Crockett, stuff that Disney was actually more interesting at that time.
Stuff that they probably couldn't show now.
Oh yeah. Well, Blackbeard's Ghost was another good one. I really, I know Stone was before he got cut off was talking about some of the Kurt Russell stuff. I love one called The Cat from Outer Space. Not as hardcore as Boxer's Omen, but yeah.
I think a lot of people.
I greatly apologize, guys. Obviously, this plan didn't work. Next time, we're going to go back to the original idea, but obviously, this plan didn't work. So I'll just try to get all this out as quickly as possible before I get cut off again.
Well, Stone, why don't you save it until the next show so that you can get it all out in much better fashion?
Fair enough. Yeah, I do apologize, everybody. Yeah, I agree.
No problem at all, Stone.
Oh, it's okay.
We'll get it next time. See you, man.
Yeah.
So that sucks, but we'll get Stone's full review of Pete's Dragon, these 1977 and the 2016 versions on the next episode of Regionfree. So mark your calendar.
Stone the Magic Dragon.
Stone the Magic Dragon. I wanted to talk a little bit tonight about an actor who, for the late 80s up to really the early 2000s, was a name that you heard a lot. It was a guy who was in a lot of different movies and a lot of different genres and was good in anything, whether it be action, whether it be comedy, whether it be drama. He was great in everything. And it's a name you, or at least I, very, very seldom hear mentioned today. And that's Wesley Snipes. When was the last time you heard anybody talk about Wesley Snipes?
Outside of Blade, it's actually pretty rare.
I guess the circles I follow, we pretty frequently, but you said that today and I was like, oh shit, did he die? And I went and searched all over the news.
I did the same thing.
But no, I think it's funny how, because you think of, you don't really lump him into like being an action hero from the late 80s into the 90s and stuff, but he was in a ton of great action flicks.
Oh yeah.
If you think, Demolition Man, everybody loves Demolition Man, am I right?
Oh, yeah.
He did some great dramatic work in Mo Better Blues and Jungle Fever and New Jack City. The comedy stuff he did, To Wong Fu, White Men Can't Jump. I actually heard that White Men Can't Jump was one of Stanley Kubrick's favorite movies.
Wow.
Can you imagine Stanley Kubrick watching White Men Can't Jump?
No.
But dunk it again, Wesley.
But he did like 3 or 4 different movies with Woody Harrelson. They became like quite a little duo there.
Money Train, early Jennifer Lopez movie, I believe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Money Train, definitely. Yeah. Passenger 54. Just lots and lots of stuff. There for a while, he was like a big time A-list actor that could do anything because he was super athletic. So the action kind of stuff was just nothing. He had great comedic timing and he was just a strong actor, period.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, he had like a bit of a career resurgence with Blade and Blade 2. Then Blade 3 happened. Then the IRS stuff happened, prison. And now it's like he's still in prison. It seems like nobody really talks about him. And I was thinking about him the other day and just going over all of the great films that he was in and how, eclectic his career was and how he could do everything and do it really, really well. Now Blade Trinity is a mess. There was a lot of reports from the set of that movie that Wesley Snipes was not happy. There was a report that he was hard to work with. He was unhappy. He tried to choke out David Goyer, which Goyer probably deserved it.
Yes.
Yeah. But see, here's the thing too that nobody talks about that probably pissed him off, and I can totally understand it. This is the third Blade movie. It's called Blade. He's Blade. Yet it seems like the focus of the movie are these two other characters that they're wanting to start this whole other franchise with. Mm-hmm. So you've got their pictures on posters that say Blade, but where's his picture? It's Blade Trinity and there's Jessica Biel. Blade Trinity, there's Ryan Reynolds, but where's Wesley Snipes? So it was kind of, I can understand if he felt like this was being taken away from him. I'd be a little pissed off too.
Yeah, it was such a disappointment too. Blade 2 from Guillermo del Toro was fantastic.
It's phenomenal. I love that movie. Yeah. Love that movie.
Yeah. He wasn't just an action star, as you were saying. I mean, Wesley Snipes could play anything.
Yeah.
Like you say, comedy, drama. He was so diverse. And I think his tax troubles, once he started making some of those cheap Eastern European direct-to-video action flicks, it hurt him quite a bit. And unfortunately, unlike a Nicolas Cage, he actually did do some significant time in prison.
He did do some significant time, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, like the low budget stuff that he's having to do now is to, pay the bills and pay off the IRS, I guess. What I mean? He's got to keep working, but unfortunately that's the only roles he can get. Now he was in the new Coming to America movie, which several people have mentioned in the chat. He's the best thing about the new Coming to America movie.
Didn't they do a new Dolomite a few years ago that he was in?
Mm-hmm. He's really good in that. A small role, but very good in that as well.
Mm-hmm.
I follow him on Twitter, so that's the only way I know the stuff he's doing. I'm not going to watch that Coming to America movie.
He was a martial artist. He got into karate and the martial arts, and that's how he got as athletic as he is. But it's funny because he couldn't play basketball. He couldn't shoot the ball. He couldn't dribble it. He couldn't do anything athletically. Like if you watch Major League, you never see.
I forgot about Major League.
If you watch Major League, you never see him actually throw the ball because he couldn't throw it. They said it looked so awkward with him throwing. It took the illusion that he was in any way athletic out when he threw the ball. So if you watch that movie, you never see him throw the ball. You see him steal bases, you see him hit, you see him field, but you never see him throw the ball. I think that's so funny. But
Willie Mays Hayes.
Willie Mays Hayes, yes indeed, yeah.
I think
I'm sorry, Dan.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say he was in The King of New York playing a cop. And then soon after that, he did New Jack City, where he was the drug kingpin, Nemo Brown, which Jamie and I are kind of talking about in the comments here. Now I'm a huge fan of New Jack City.
That is great
huge.
film.
I mean, I love all these movies. The Demolition Man, Passenger 54, Passenger
57. I think I said 54. It's 57.
I remember my dad went on a trip somewhere and he watched that like on Spectravision. He was like, "Man, I saw this really good movie." And my dad was not the type of guy to watch a movie like that. He's like, "Yeah, it had a black guy in it, Wesley Snipes. That was really good." I'm like, "Oh, okay, pretty cool, Dad."
Yeah, and of course, I mean, he could play your action hero in Passenger 57, and then play a really badass villain in Demolition Man. So I mean, he had a lot of
black.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he had a lot of range, and I mean, I think he's a really good actor. And we never hear much from him now, and it seems like it's we forgive, even if the IRS thing is like something that's held over him. I mean, we've forgiven entertainers who've done a lot worse. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think it's time for a Wesley Snipes revival. I think it's time for a Wesley Snipes return.
Yeah.
So,
He briefly returned to TV in a action series. I can't remember what it was called, but it was not half bad. I remember at one point it ended up not being true, but it leaked that he was cast as Negan, and I was like, you know what? People
That
were
would've-
complaining. Watch Demolition Man. He's charismatic as hell. He would have made a great Negan.
that would have been guess. He would have made a great Negan. Come to think of it, yeah.
Yeah, I can see him bashing some brains in with the baseball bat.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we're not going to see any kind of resurgence from a Steven Seagal, who was always just Steven Seagal. But Wesley Snipes can come back in any way. He can come back as Wesley Snipes, the comedian, Wesley Snipes, the serious actor. And, seeing him fairly recently in some movies, he's still in great shape. He's a credible action star. I know he's not, unfortunately, it's Marshala Ali, I believe, is the new Blade.
Yeah.
But if that doesn't go well, hey, I am totally down to see him come back as Blade.
Exactly. Yeah, and they need to throw him a bone or two in the new Blade movie. Have him in there as something. You know what I mean? He should be in there as some role. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys out there aren't familiar with Wesley Snipes, or if you're only familiar with his Blade, go back and check out some of his stuff. I mean, it's really wonderful body of works, really starting in the late 80s all the way through to the early 2000s.
Raiho was demanding we talk about Drop Zone.
I don't remember much about Drop Zone, to be perfectly honest.
I saw it, and just they jump out of planes a lot, right? I remember that being the thing.
I think so. Yeah,
it's decent. Boiling Point's another one people forget about.
Yeah.
That's actually a good one.
Yeah.
Rising Sun's more a thriller, but with Sean Connery.
Sean Connery, yeah.
Yeah. If you, there's a lot. Like I said, they were fairly popular when they came out, but are not talked about as much now. And you really can't go wrong. I mean, looking at his filmography, there's not a lot of trash there, at least up through Blade 2. Most everything's actually really good.
Yeah. Now, from what I heard, the original idea for Blade 3 was like this post-apocalyptic, the vampires had won, and what remaining, humans there are sort of banding with Blade to survive. I thought that would be a great idea, but New Line or whatever, that's too dark. And so Goyer was like, let's just bring Dracula in, I guess.
Yeah, it's such a stupid trope, isn't it? They do that all the time.
I know. Yeah. I've said it before. Whenever you have like vampire fiction and they bring in Dracula into it, they're just completely out of ideas. So that Goyer was like, because I'm sure that was a movie that started with a release date, and they were like, "You've got 3 months. What do you got? Dracula?"
Some snappy Buffy-esque one-liners.
Yeah. I can see what Parker Posey's doing, I guess. Triple H,
because everybody wants to see that Triple H Parker Posey movie.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, Wesley Snipes. Let's see, what else have we got on the list here. We've actually got a video from Christian here. He's going to give us one of his let's just see what Christian's got for us. I'm sure it'll be discussion worthy after.
Opinions. Nobody in the panel agreed with me that Zombie was better than Dawn of the Dead. I'm expecting the same this time, but shout out to the chat last time because there was a lot of zombie love in there. Alright, so I'm going to show you 2 movies. Sorry, I'm tired. I just woke up. I'm on graveyard shift. And I'm going to show you which one I think is the better one. And then, of course, it's the same thing. Panel reacts. Here's the 2 movies. Man, you already know it's The Howling, though.
The Howling. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, wrong one. Sorry. The Howling versus American Werewolf in London, and we lost Gibbs. Gibbs was so angered by that he left. He split. So The Howling versus American Werewolf in London. 81 was a good year for werewolves, and it's been downhill ever since.
Yeah.
It's been downhill ever since. What do you think, Dan?
I'm sorry, Christian. I got to disagree. I mean, The Howling is a fantastic film, but American Werewolf in London was probably one of the most unique and original films of the 80s. I mean, just the humor and, say what you will about John Landis, but which I know Lauren often has a strong opinion on him if you're listening. But that movie is just perfect. The transformation scene, as I think you were saying, Piz, to this very day, you cannot have a werewolf film, and there have been some good ones, but they are all compared. It's like, well, it was good, but that transformation scene was not on par with American Werewolf in London. That's artistry that we'll likely never see again. I know that they were talking about rebooting that not too long ago, but with the Max Landis controversy, like father, like son, I think that's dead, and probably rightfully so, because I mean, unless somebody's really going to take the time to do that practically, which that took a very long time to film. Look at the special features on American Werewolf in London. Wasn't easy, but my God, was it worth it? 40 years later, we're still talking about it.
40 years later, that is still the best werewolf transformation
by far
and away. There's no doubt about it. And it's 40 years old. Yeah. 40 years old. And it's still, you watch it today in HD, and I mean, there's a lot of those effects from the 80s, you see them in HD. You see where, like the border is around the prosthetic, or you see how you can see it's not perfect. But with American Werewolf, there's no, it still just looks absolutely phenomenal.
And David Naughton sells that pain so well. I mean, it's a horrific experience, and just seeing like some CGI more thing and hair popping on your face. It's not the same.
Yeah. The one travesty of the Wolfman movie with Benicio del Toro. Mm-hmm. They bring in Rick Baker, and they just do everything digitally.
Yeah.
Like, why did you even have him? Like, there's a great interview with Rick Baker where he's talking about it, and he's like, why'd you have me here? Because he was talking about he did the makeup after the effect.
Yeah.
And he gave them his budget, and like one of the production assistants or whatever was like, well, why do you need brown fur? And he goes, because it's a werewolf movie. Like, why are we spending all this money on brown fur? It's a werewolf movie. You know what I mean? So not a pleasant experience from him. But it's like, why do you bring him in and then it's all CGI? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, and how much goodwill would you have had if you even just did it properly and leaked some of that footage? Forget a trailer. Just show some footage, like, wow, with the horror community, just they did it like the original.
Yeah.
It would have gotten so much goodwill. And I mean, if you can pay Anthony Hopkins, you can get brown fur. So
oh yeah.
I think
Anthony Hopkins didn't do that for cheap. You know what I mean?
No.
Yeah. He's like, you want me to be in a werewolf movie? Double my quote. He's not doing that for free. But yeah, anyway. So Dan is that's one for an American Werewolf. What do you say, Stingray?
Howling, hands down.
Okay. Interesting.
I don't respect, I respect all the stuff in London and everything, but it's just Howling is the better film in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Also, everybody out in the chat, a lot of people are voting already, but what do you guys got in the chat? Howling or American Werewolf? What do you say, Gibbs?
American Werewolf. Yeah.
Okay. That's 2-1. I really like both movies. To be honest, they'll always be compared to one another because they came out the same year, and of course, I mean, they're great werewolf movies. I mean, I don't know. It's tough. There's things I really love about both. I mean, I love the tragic sense of humor in American Werewolf. I love that ending. I love the fact that the victims haunt the werewolf. And they decay as the movie goes on. That's a really cool thing, I think. But I mean, The Howling's got that kind of sleazy kind of grindhouse kind of look and feel to it. And of course, a bunch of it takes place on like 42nd Street and the peep shows and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, man. I don't know if I can. Tomorrow, I might say The Howling. Today, I guess I'm going to say An American Werewolf.
Two very different films too. I mean, they're werewolf films, but the vibe is totally different. Christian, I'd like to hear Howling 2 or An American Werewolf in Paris.
Oh,
Howling 2, without a doubt.
There you go, Howling 2. So I can give some love to that.
Howl! I love the soundtrack on that one.
I finally got my hands on this bad boy.
Oh, nice.
After years and years of I shouldn't say years and years. Like this thing, there was only like one listing for this on both Amazon Marketplace and eBay, and they wanted a ridiculous amount of money for it. And since it's coming from the UK, you got to pay that ridiculous money too. But I was like, YOLO, I want it. And I love this series. I'm fascinated with this series. And I've not had a chance to really dive into it yet, but it looks fantastic.
Does that cover the whole run, the whole franchise?
This covers the whole franchise, yeah.
There are, I mean, it's not the most respected in terms of the sequels, but there's some weird ones. Marsupials, the third one.
I love marsupials.
See, I kind of like it too, but doesn't get a lot of love.
No, I love 2. I love 3. 4. I like 4. I like the Freak Show. I think that one's pretty entertaining. Of course, New Moon Rising is New Moon Rising.
Yeah,
and we can just leave it at that. I've not seen the remake or reboot or whatever that was that came out a few years ago. I have no real desire to see that.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything good about it. I don't think I watched it either because I don't think we reviewed it. So I was just like, yeah, I'm good. It's in a watch pile forever, probably.
Yeah. Let's see what the audience is saying. Robert Long throws some love out for Wolfen, which came out the same year.
Yeah, D. Wallace.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's always a conversation that people are like, there's only a few good werewolf movies. And I disagree with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that I like Late Phases. Did you guys see that one?
Yes. Fantastic.
Still not seen that one. It's been on my list forever, but
it's, low budget, but it works, I think.
Very emotional too. You did a bit of a tearjerker at times.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked the, what was that one that came out last year? The Wolf of something Hollow or something like that.
Oh yeah,
Wolf of Snow Hollow.
Wolf of Snow Hollow. I really enjoyed that one.
I enjoyed it. I have some problems with the ending, but I'll save that for another time.
Yeah, there's Dog Soldiers, of course.
Dog
too.
Soldiers, yeah.
Ginger Snaps.
Yeah.
Bad Moon, I think, is good for the most part. Mm-hmm. That transformation scene is like, ugh. But other than that, I enjoy it.
There's another one. It does suffer from some poor CG, but it's called Howl. It's like werewolves attacking a train. I still liked it. Like I said, the CG, unfortunately, at times, but it has its moments.
There's one. It's a horror comedy called Big Bad Wolf. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. It's funny. I have a Fangoria banner hanging over my steps from that convention, and the cast was there. Richard Tyson, and I forget the actress's name, but
that's awesome. Yeah,
Clint Howard was in that. That's a fun one.
Let's not forget Teen Wolf.
Yeah.
Let's not forget Teen Wolf. Or so Joe Reese mentions it, Silver Bullet.
Oh yes, Gary Busey. There's some weirdos that starred in these werewolf movies.
I always seem to forget Dog Soldier. For some reason, I love that movie, but when I mention werewolf movies, for some reason that one just never jumps to mind.
Did we say Silver Bullet? Okay, yeah. I see Joe Reese.
We mentioned Silver Bullet, yeah. Got a couple of votes for Wolf of Wall Street in the chat.
Company of Wolves? Anyone like that one?
Yes. Yeah, Wolf with Jack Nicholson. That's another one.
Yeah, I just got the Blu-ray imported.
Oh, nice.
for that.
Oh, cool.
So,
Yeah.
love that movie. Yeah. American Werewolf in London all day. American Werewolf. American Werewolf.
So it's decided that The Howling has won that battle.
Let's see. It looks like most people voted for American Werewolf.
Yeah, see them both.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
If you've not seen both, see both. Definitely see both. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Apparently, there's one called Werewolf Bitches from Outer Space from 2016. I haven't seen that one yet.
I'm gonna say probably not as good as Howling. There's also Werewolves of the Third Reich's another one I have that I haven't watched, but yeah. There's more than a few good werewolf movies. I think London just killed it with that transformation scene, because there have been some comparisons that I didn't think were entirely fair. I mean, I'm not expecting Big Bad Wolf to have that kind of effects quality, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah,
for sure.
And I mean, and not to take anything away from the transformation in The Howling that Rob Bottin did. That's also a really good one, you know. So there's not to take anything away from that transformation. That's also a really good one.
My Mom's a Werewolf. That's a good one.
I don't remember that one.
My Stepmom's a Werewolf, is it? I kind of think I remember what you're talking about, or it might be Mom.
This one is Mom. I think there may be one called Stepmom too.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe that might have been the sequel. My Stepmom.
Actually, I think it's My Stepmom is an Alien. I'm crossing.
My parents got divorced, and now my stepmom is a werewolf also.
Well, is there anything else you guys want to talk about? Any topics you guys want to discuss before we call it a night here?
Well, Monsters is coming. Do you think that means we're also going to get like Addams Family directed by Eli Roth next, or?
I could see Eli Roth's, yes, Adams or Adam Green's Addams Family.
Wednesday, just severed head and just a blood geyser going through there.
They just did an animated Addams Family like a year or so ago.
Yeah. They made plus size Gomez, representing my fellow chubby dudes out there. That's cool.
If they did, it'd be cool to have Christina Ricci play Morticia.
Yeah.
That
would work.
That actually would be a really nice hook.
That would be, yeah. That would be a nice hook. I agree.
Ava Green, maybe. I don't know if she can pull off the comedy as well, but there's a few interesting ones.
She's got the look, that's for sure.
Are you more a Monsters or an Addams Family guy? Because
I was more of to be perfectly honest, I really didn't watch either that much, but I do remember watching quite a bit of the Monsters as a little kid, because it seems like it came on before something else that I like to watch come on. So I always tuned in for it too. So I guess I was more of the Monsters.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched both quite a bit.
Yeah, I was both. I kind of I think I saw Addams Family first. I remember those old like Nick at Night reruns and watching it with my my parents. I think they were always trying to. It's like, well, do you really have to watch all these super gory movies? How about the Addams Family? But but I kind of kept with both, unfortunately. So hi, Mom, if you're watching this.
Gotta have that balance, that balance of super gory and family appropriate stuff thrown in there.
Absolutely.
So. Anything else on your all's minds you want to discuss?
Well, real quick, I was talking to Dan the other night about this, but Piz, did you know that Bernard Rose did a Frankenstein movie a few years ago?
I did, but just sort of vaguely. Is it Frankenstein? Is it like Unbound or Frankenstein, something like that?
I think it may just be Frankenstein.
Is it just Frankenstein? Okay.
It's just Frankenstein Unbound was actually the last film that Roger Corman directed in the early 91, I think, something like that. Well worth checking out.
Well, I'm definitely a fan of Bernard Rose.
That's why I wanted to mention it to you. I thought it's a very interesting take on the story. I'll tell you that much.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very gory.
Really, I'll have to look into it. Did you find it streaming somewhere or on Blu-ray or something?
No, I'm like a broken record tonight, but I think it's on Shudder. I've just been watching a lot of Shudder lately.
Okay.
Just there's so much stuff on there that I haven't seen. So
yeah, I'll make
I threw it on, and I was like, Bernard Rose did this? Wow.
There's also a newish one called Mary Shelley with Elle Fanning. If you want to see a little bit of the true story, it's not completely true to life, but and there's another Frankenstein one right now on Shudder, and the name's escaping me. I don't have Shudder pulled up, but if you want to deep dive into Frankenstein, there's a few options. This is a new one, like a brand new premiere that I think like a month ago, if you scroll through the new releases.
I need to get that Paper House Blu-ray that imports. I really need to get that.
Yeah, such a good movie.
Yeah, really talented director. I don't know why he doesn't work more. I mean, Paper House, Candyman, Immortal Beloved, you know what I mean? Just really talented guy. We actually have a guest in the green room.
Really?
And we'll bring him in and see what he has to add to the conversation. His name is Meds.
I just want to thank everyone for their kind words earlier, and to say, that Metropolis disc from France is completely worth it for Paper House. I also want to publicly thank Jay the Stingray. Going through what I went through just this week, he actually went out of his way to check up on me and send me things. And I just want to say to him that the Alien disc set did come with a slip cover. So it's a tight one.
It's fighting back.
I'm probably that weak.
Yeah.
Yeah. There we go.
Awesome.
Did you not already own those?
I don't have them all in one place, and this is going to be great because this is going to allow me to get rid of a bunch of shit that I really don't need. I didn't own Aliens on Blue, actually.
That was the only reason I sent that to you.
I'm quite sure it was. But I mean, everyone's kind words out there, everyone checking up on me, and it means a ton to me because in a very real sense, as we get older, our bodies start to fail and we have less friends. So it means a lot for the two things to dovetail nicely, to know that there's people out there who care. So I'm really not going to be good for conversation tonight. I just wanted to get that out. But thank you.
See, I thought you really wanted to jump on here and talk about Rob Zombie's The Munsters. That's what brought you in.
It'll never really exist in my world. I'll never say it. Listen, it'd be worse if it was Addams Family to me, but it's going to be hard either way.
What if Rob Zombie puts Christina Ricci in his Munsters movie?
She would never ever work with him.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive of that. No. I mean, at this point, she works on the things that she has a part of the back end of anyway. And that's why she hasn't had to really do dreg work. Unfortunately for actresses after 35, it's like, and she just refused. She said, nope, I'm going to be a producer on my projects. I'm going to make deals. I will work in television. I mean, she was actually pretty early to go to the premium television series with Pan Am and some of the other stuff. She does what interests her, and she's building a hell of a career. I think she's the most beautiful woman that ever lived, but I also would say that she's a damn good business person.
We have to do a Pumpkin retrospective sometime. I know you're a fan of that.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
The way you feel about her is how I feel about Sherry Moon Zombie.
I wish I could say I understand, but I think my language comprehension is failing me because I thought you just said that you felt the same way about Cherry Moon Zombie, and I've known you long enough, Piz, that that kind of gobbledygook coming out of your mouth can't be a real thing.
She's a businesswoman too. She's got her own clothing line. So I mean, she's a businesswoman too.
Is it a lingerie line?
There's probably lingerie included. I'm sure. I don't know.
That's funny.
She's diversifying, I guess. I don't know. But anywho, yeah, it's good to see you, Lauren. Looks like you're doing pretty well.
I'm doing better than I thought I was going to be doing. I have a hell of a scar that no one will ever see on this panel. And it definitely wasn't my favorite thing that's happened in many, many, many years, maybe ever. But listen, I thought it was going to be worse. They did prescribe much heavier painkillers than I'm taking. I think I'm going to get through this just on Tylenol and perseverance.
Nice. Cool. We'll see the scar on the Region-Free Patreon.
Yeah, if you want to see the scar, that's
I will tell you.
Kind of paywall.
I didn't look at the scar for a full day. It was only today's shower that I looked at it and I went, "Oh, that's something no man should ever see on their own body, ever, ever."
Wow.
So, yeah. So take care of yourselves, kids, and if you notice something wrong, do something about it. Then, not 19 years later.
There you go.
That's my advice.
So, that pretty much covers everything that we had for tonight. We're going out on a bang.
That's not going to happen for quite a while either.
Well, I can see the clip for just this portion of the show. Region-Free number 11, testicular scarring.
Yeah. There we go, kids.
That'll bring them in. That'll bring in the views.
It probably will, actually. The scary thing.
It would. There's no doubt about it. Yeah.
Submit it to chaotic.com. You'd be fine.
Mm-hmm. But I want to give a big shout out to everybody who tuned in tonight. Let's see who we still got with us in the chat. We've got Sean McManus, the Cornelius Collection, Aiden Vavra, Marbsy, the Daily Ghost. We got Steak Sauce out there. We have got the White Trash Jedi who says Natalie Portman is the hottest woman of all time.
No.
That personality, though.
Yeah.
Look, I could be convinced that Fay Ray or even early Rose McGowan, you could fight me on, but Natalie Portman, no.
I would say Lena Romay, circa the female vampire.
That's a tough one too. See, I'll take that kind of a argument, but you see where I'm coming from, right?
Yeah. Or Edwig Fennick. That's another one.
Edwig Fennick or Barbara Steele.
Barbara Steele, yeah.
Matilda May.
Ooh. Mm-hmm.
I think that was a shining moment in time, though.
She doesn't look dramatically different, but we saw a lot more of Matilda May, in fairness, than Barbara Steele.
Yeah. That's very, very true. I'll say Sherry Moon circa anytime. Let's see.
Again, I think I just heard you.
Let's see. We've got Mike Hawk in the chat. We've got Big Crack Rock. We've got, I think I gave Stakey a shout out, but we'll give him another shout out because it's steak sauce. Darren Burrows. Jamie's in the chat. Jamie, hope you get to feeling better soon. Raiho's in the chat. Everybody send some love up to Raiho too. Robert Long. Christian was in the chat. Bombastic Reviews. Jonathan's here. Joshy's got a gun. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. And thank you, Stingray, for being here.
Yeah, man.
Always cool to see you. It's been a while. It's good to see you back in action. Exactly. Dan making his second appearance on Region-Free. Thank you. Retro Cac making his very first appearance on Region-Free.
Thanks for having me.
Hopefully the first of many.
Maybe I'll have something to say next time.
You said plenty.
Hey.
You said plenty.
Probably more than enough, yeah.
It was all footnote worthy, so you're good.
Oh, thank you.
It's all good. And of course, And of course, Lauren, thanks for checking in.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Yeah, right on. All right, we will see you guys again in a couple of weeks on the 25th of March. So mark your calendars for that. Actually, let's pimp out Flesh Wounds. Dan, what's going on over on Flesh Wounds?
Oh yeah, well, actually, just a day before you'll be watching the next episode of Region Free, we are having our 500th episode of Flesh Wound, and we hope we're giving away prizes. They're good. Amazon gift cards. We've got Blu-rays, DVDs, books. We've got I think I'm calling it the Splatterpunk set that we're going to be giving away.
Nice.
So just be there and share the hashtag. Get on the Flesh Wound Radio Twitter, and of course Flesh Wound Features on YouTube. And follow our social media, because we're going to be giving this away on all platforms.
Very cool. Stingray, what's going on your channels?
Not sure of anything in stone, but definitely some content will be coming on all channels that I'm involved with.
Cool. What's going on with you, Retro? What's going on with you, Gibbs?
Not a whole lot. I'm still planning on doing a pickups video on my RetroCac channel, YouTube/RetroCac. Follow me on my Instagram at the RetroCac, and then I've been trying to pick up my Twitter game at RetroCac. So just posting pictures of old crappy games, I guess.
They're old, but they're not. Some of them are crappy, not all of them. So.
Hey, it's a mixed bag.
There you go. And Lauren, what can we expect from you after your respite?
Well, the only thing I have set in stone right now is on the 5th of April. Cullen Bunn will be joining me for a conversation. He is a very prolific comic book writer who's done a lot of genre work, including creating The Empty Man that they made the film from.
Nice.
Very nice.
Very cool.
That'll be on the 5th at 8 p.m. It'll happen whenever it happens. How about that? Things are a little foggy right now.
Very cool.
Now, that one's set in stone. I have some other things set that are coming together. I am probably taking the rest of this month just to be right when I come back. I might pop into other people's shows and stuff, but my channel's not going anywhere. It's just not going to be real active until I am.
Okay.
Cool. And I've got some reviews coming up on my channel. I've got the Don't Panic Vinegar Syndrome release coming out very soon. Of course, the Breakdown Vivision release. I've got the Scream Factory Terror Within 1 and 2 release review coming out very soon too. Also working on a couple of live streams with special guests. So that'll be very cool. So yeah. All right. Well, very cool. You guys have a great week. We'll see you again soon. And take care. Stay safe. And until next time, peace.
Good night.
Watch or be punished.